In our last segment, we learned how Wausau Siding Systems is reinvesting in new equipment to remanufacture superior shake siding products. Now let's continue with Dusty Dvorak as we learn more about their one-piece corners.
Sure, what I want to talk about and spend a little bit of time on is how we actually manufacture our one-piece corner. Now remember, you can get that in a 4 or 6 inch, 10 or 16 feet long. But here's what's key. It's the way we manufacture our joint. You can see it's a mortise and tenon joint. We'll take and we'll machine those pieces of trim so that we can bring them together. We'll have some water-based adhesive on there, some marine glue, clamp it so you get a nice joint and a very strong joint. It's not like a dovetail 45 or anything like that. This has got a lot of structural strength. And then you'll notice we apply a vinyl nailing fin using stainless steel staples, okay, which will actually fork out once they're installed. Great holding power. You're not just going to simply pull these off. So we talked about the avoidance of face fastening. We don't want to run any fasteners through the face of this. With this one-piece corner and the way we apply this vinyl nailing fin, we don't have to worry about it. You're going to fasten through here.
Well, the thing I really like about this is, first of all, mortise and tenon, it gives such a beautiful aesthetic finish to it.
Right.
You don't have to face nail it. We all know that if you face nail, you're going to have to touch up the paint, so you're avoiding that. And then with a mortise and tenon and that environmentally safe glue, I mean, you can't pull that apart. I mean, it's going to be just beautiful.
Right, you'd have a very difficult time pulling it apart. Why don't I show you the automation we introduced? Let's take a look at the machine and how they're put together. So Stuart, let's talk about where we begin down there at the end. It's run through the glue feeder, which will apply a steady bead of glue all the way down the entire seam. From that point, it's brought into this area here where we're applying that vinyl nailing fin. You know, we talked about the stainless steel staples applied every 5 inches. That's what's being done right here in this area. Then it's being brought into the clamps and pinched together to make that nice strong joint that we talked about.
Boy, that's really impressive. I mean, look, you can see the glue is consistent all the way along, getting squeezed out. And again, that's an environmentally friendly glue.
It's an environmentally friendly glue, and like I said, makes for a tight bond that's not going to fail over the years. And again, water-based, and it's a marine glue, so it's water-resistant.
Do you find that doing it in a factory-controlled environment produces a superior end product?
Right, when you make this type of investment in machinery, you know, again, you're looking for repeatability of quality, and that's what this gives us, is that repeatability. So from here, the corner actually hasn't been factory finished yet, but it's heading right into the paint booth so that we can apply our Diamond Kote finish to it. Stuart, before they're painted, remember, we're only as good as the surface we bond to. You always want to sand the surface, break the surface up to make sure we get good at adhesion. So it's going directly from the sander right into our spray booth. And let's talk about that paint application. You know, we're spraying it across the entire surface. Rather than a flood coat applied finish, we spray it so we know exactly how many wet and dry mills that we end up with on the surface of the product. Very important, because when we're talking about flood coating, remember, flood coating, it goes through a cascade or a curtain of paint, and then the excess is squeegeed off, and you really end up with different amounts of paint on the high and the low points. We want to maintain the look of that cedar grain, so we spray it across the entire surface. I know in the deep points as well as the high points, I've got the exact same amount of paint.
So this looks to be the Wausau white. Do you offer other colors as well?
We've got 29 standard colors, of which 6 of those are the two-tone or the cedar-looking colors that we have. And you know, it's a great product to go with if you're trying to replicate the look of cedar, but you don't want the cedar maintenance year after year after year. So great product to go with in those cases. So from this point, what they're doing is they're taking them over the top and they're being stacked on a cart on the other side. Then that cart gets pushed into a baking oven. So again, we got to flash this off so we can handle it within a relatively short period of time so we can get them to the job site when somebody's looking for them and waiting for them, right?
Well, I just love all the automation, all the attention to detail. It seems as though your consistency with it ultimately leads to a better end result.
Listen, the only way you can offer a 30-year warranted painted finish is to make sure that you know the application process and you know that it's going to perform in the environment. So again, we're the only company that offers a 5-year labor and finish warranty. So the labor is included as well as the product itself. Again, nobody else offers that. It's really all about the paint you apply, the process in which you apply it, and how you handle it until it gets in the field. Those 3 things are vitally important to the longevity of the product.